Want to kick this off? We got a special guest in the house. Live podcasts are back. Ball Don't Stop podcast. My guy, a pure hooper, a guy that I speak on, but a guy that represents who we are. You know, the term ball don't stop, this is what it's actually about. This shit isn't even really about my takes. This is really about the love for the game. It's about the respect and the purity for the game. And more than anything, it's about a dedication and just a grind and commitment to the game. And that's what this dude represents. Fred VanVleet, man, my guy.
My dog, appreciate you.
Man, listen, there's superstars in the world of basketball. You got the LeBrons, you got the KDs, you got the Kawhis, you already know. But what a guy like yourself goes out there and does to this day and has achieved is just as special to me as a guy that understands the game and knows what it takes to get to this level, man.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't really even supposed to be here if you really look at it.
Right.
But there was a moment there where you, in those hard moments, in those do or die moments, kept coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't give up and you stayed committed to it. Take me through this, because you came undrafted in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
G League, you know, and now here you are sitting here as an all-star, as a guy that became a franchise point guard, as a guy that helped lead an NBA team to an NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're literally living the basketball dream. This is one in a million type stuff, man. Talk to me about what got you here, and talk to me about this journey that brought you here.
Man, great intro. But I think, man, just not quitting, you know, like just having the character and just having like the makeup to just stay with it. Like I just knew since I was a little kid I was supposed to be in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? It's just a feeling that I had, you know, and we could talk about faith, or you could talk about whatever like you believe in, but it's just I knew. Like I've been, you know, I told my mom when I was a little kid I'm gonna be in the NBA, and you know, I centered my whole life around that. So by the time I'm, you know, 22 and it's draft time, like that's not gonna be it's gonna take more than that. You know what I mean? Like I at least gotta go to camp, play summer league, like see what it's really about. And in my mind, I just was like, I know that I'm good in my class. I always judge my play by my class.
Yeah.
Because when I was a young kid, I always played up. So by the time it was time for me to play with my peers, I knew that I was good enough. So I was just did it like that, and you know, I was waiting for the right opportunity, and you know, everything worked out the way it was supposed to, and I fell in the perfect thing. You know, I had a lot of things go right for me along the way, but I also made a lot of things go right too.
Coming from Rockford, Illinois, that's not Chicago, right?
Right.
So you do come from a basketball hub, though.
Right.
You know, you didn't have this notoriety in high school. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you weren't propped up.
Right.
How did that affect you? You know, going through, because you really had to just, when no one's watching,
Yeah.
put that work in and keep believing in yourself, like you said, with your faith.
Yeah, I think it's like you just gotta earn it. You know what I mean? It's just different when you really gotta like go against all the odds. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really till I made it to the league that I understood that fully. You know, because that's all I knew was to get it off the muscle and just, you know what I'm saying, go against the grain. So yeah, like not really being highly recruited, and some of that is on me because I chose not to go with the big name AAU programs and things like that. Probably could have helped me, you know what I'm saying, if I would have been on the EYBL circuit, or that probably would have helped boost my profile. But I was just focused on the hoop. Like I always just loved basketball and loved the game. I wasn't really into the politics or the business of it. So it might have held me back a little bit, but I wanted to play D1. I wanted to play in the tournament. I wanted to have a good college career, and I wanted to go pro. And that was my mindset like as a young kid, like I had my mind made up, and it wasn't really nothing that was going to stop me from, you know, figuring it out.
So when you get to the league, right, and there's that scary moment there where guys go to the G League, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
That is those do or die moments.
Right.
How was there an anxiety associated with that? Was the pressure something that, you know, really brought the best out of you? Clearly it did. But, you know, take me through that. Those are dark times for guys, right?
No doubt. I think for me, I've been blessed to have like just a crazy mental fortitude. You know what I'm saying? Some of that is where I grew up and how I grew up. But for the most part, like I was embarrassed to go to the G League at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I just thought the world of myself, and I knew I was good enough, and I just never associated myself with being in the G League, you know, because it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
7 years ago, it had a different ring to it. You know what I mean?
It was a
And
dark
even
place.
way before that, obviously the G League's come a long way,
Right.
but it's way more acceptable now. You know what I mean? It's top picks that play now.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was just a little like embarrassed because I felt like I was good enough to play. I knew I had to wait my turn to crack the rotation, and it was just really, I got to give credit to Stack coach, Jerry Stackhouse, because he really put it in perspective for me and just put me to the side and was like, listen, you got to make the most of it while you're here. You know what I'm saying? And so that really flipped it from feeling a way about it to like, all right, I'm going to show y'all while I'm not supposed to be down here. I know that, but it's time for me to show y'all like it's going to look bad when it's time for me to play. I got to put up numbers. I got to win. I got to do all of that. So that's really how I approached it.
I'm gonna skip some of this because we know where you got, we know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that the country will never forget. And look, we're a national outlet. We cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
As a Canadian, I know how big this hit. And this is something that I'll really speak on is high pressure buckets and how the power of a bucket can change the entire course of history.
Mm-hmm.
It's Game 6, Oracle Arena. You guys are, I would call a do or die game because you don't want to go to 7th game with the defending champ.
Right.
Back to back.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard, they have a scheme against him.
Right.
He's worn out. He's been doing a lot. Kyle Lowry's balling out. You guys got an incredible roster, perfectly put together. You had something that's really hard to capture. Yeah. It was like lightning in a bottle, top to bottom with your depth, with your system, X's and O's. Everyone catches breaks. Everything kind of went your way. But there was still that moment where you had to get over the hump. And that is when you came in at Game 6 during the final stretch of that fourth quarter. And I saw Oracle, I saw the crowd, and I saw the Warriors' body language just drop. And it was a result of you getting tough bucket after tough bucket, one-on-one, basically by yourself. Take me through that moment because that moment changed basketball here forever.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things, like just, again, being a student of the game and just understanding, like, the moment. Like, you got to know that this has happened before. You got to study to know that there was a Derek Fisher buzzer beater. There was you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just know the game and you realize, like, there was so many moments throughout these finals and championships that people just brush over because we, as the media and the business of the game, we prop up the superhumans because that is like unthinkable that Kawhi Leonard can do what he can do. You know what I mean? So all of that being said,
you had to go hoop.
Yeah, it was time to do it. And just knowing the game is like, okay, Kyle is our guy, but it's time for something else. Kawhi, whatever. Pascal had Draymond on him. Like you could just go down the list of it, and then it just ended up in my hands at the top most of the time. Pick and roll, boogie in the drop. Like,
go.
Yeah, come on, let's
get up. Yeah, that's who you are, right?
Yeah,
so instincts. That's instincts.
Right.
Kicking in because at that point, that deep in the game, they know your schemes.
Right.
They know what you're gonna do. They know your sets.
Yeah.
You kind of broke it.
Yeah.
And it was like today's NBA's kind of become predictable. It's very robotic in the way it's played.
Yeah.
And you went to that level of a hooper that just got those buckets and really broke shit apart. How special did that feel? Were you like, yo, I made it?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, it's hard to explain to people that never really experienced it, but it's just like, imagine like the shit that you dream about.
Some driveway shit.
Yeah, the driveway shit. Like whatever you imagining when you doing that, like imagine like doing it for real. You know what I mean?
With those guys on the floor.
With those guys on the floor with like Hall of Fame top. I ain't gonna say whatever,
right.
People argue about it, but some of the best ever. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like my matchup is Steph Curry. I'm supposed to make his life hell on the other end.
And
so it basically was like, yo, you got Steph, don't leave him. That was it. That's all really my role was at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The shot making and all that was just extra because I had already got hot in the series before. So now it's like I'm not playing all this defense to not shoot. So when I get it, shit, I'm gonna try to get a bucket because I'm here too. Like I'm not Kawhi, I'm not Kyle, I'm not Pascal. I understand that. I'm not Steph. I understand that. But shit,
it's time to get a bucket. You gonna get a bucket?
I'm trying to join the party too. Like,
no, I love that because it's hard to explain that to people because like those moments, bro. Like we were watching that with like my parents didn't even watch basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like people will never forget who Fred VanVleet is in Canada just because of those 4 or 5
no
shots,
doubt.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like you got to have the kahunas to take those,
Mhm.
make those. You got to have the reps to take those and make those, right?
Mhm.
Coming up, working out wise, because it's all a journey. It changes. You evolve in your training, right?
Mhm.
What were some of the things you were doing, to get to the level you're at? Because when I watch you play, it's not just a system player. It's a guy
Yeah.
that's very crafty,
Right.
a guy that at 6'1" had to figure out angles
Mhm.
and little, minute details of the
Mhm.
game that, it's fucking damn near impossible to make the
Yeah.
league at this height.
Yeah.
Even though you're 6'1", as a
Right.
normal human, you're
Right.
tall. But, at the league level with today's athletes
Yeah.
and this freakish, age that we're in,
Mhm.
what were some of the things that you mastered early? Some of it is a gift, but what were you doing?
Yeah, I think for the most part, like I always had a talent. Like I was born with something, and I don't know what it is.
Right.
I had it, but I will go back a little bit to like give my step pop some credit, because he watched DVDs, he watched 5 Star, he watched all of these different things, and he learned drills and stuff for us to do. So as a kid, it was all ball handling, finishing, agility, like just learning the game. And then me and my brothers would just watch. We would put the Ankle Breakers DVDs
era,
in,
yeah.
or
That's
you
how
would
people got better
go,
back then.
watch and one, and then go in the backyard. Like that was our thing. But more than anything, I just like to hoop. So park, rec, YMCA, whatever. I want to hoop because I'm gonna work on my skill to sharpen my toolbox. But I'm trying all my game stuff like live action. You know what I'm saying? And back then, being a shooter, where I was from was like soft, so it was all to the rack.
Right.
So I wasn't a bad shooter, but it just wasn't a thing back then to just be pulling up threes.
No,
so
sure.
Everything I was doing was to the rim anyway. So I'm learning how to do all of that. I'm not knowing that I'm one day be in the NBA. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just watching all the guys that I like. I'm watching that era of guards, which was the 2000s, late 2000s of guards, which was
who were some of these guys? Steve Francis, Baron Davis, Marbury,
D. Will, J. Kidd, AI, like, you know what I'm saying? It's the list.
Who's the guard that influenced your game the most, you feel like, if you were to pick one?
That's tough, man. That's tough. I would probably say influenced me, probably like AI for sure, because I can remember being a kid and watching AI documentary and watching them live and watching them play and just watching him be like, you know what? I'm gonna do this shit my way and I'm gonna live with it. Like I remember that
what you
interview
did in Game
whatever
6 is what he did his whole life on a night-to-night basis.
He did that every night. So he influenced me in my personality and my swag the most. But like somebody that I took a lot from was Darren Williams. For sure, D. Will, like light skin, same. That was he was the guy that I was watching on a nightly basis.
Man, at one point, probably the best point guard in the game for a moment.
Right, best point guard in the game, and then being in the West, I was a Kobe guy, so just watching, I'm watching all the West teams. And I got to go back and give Chauncey Billups some credit too, CB. Because I stole so much from him, but he's so much bigger than me. You know what I'm saying?
He was a 6'4", big guard, take you to the post.
Yeah, he was a bruiser, but
you moved similarly to him.
Right. So I just watched how he used his body in certain things, and
he was an overly explosive either.
He's a killer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
CB's a killer.
Yeah, no, you could definitely see that you're cut from that cloth. Now you said you came up hooping a lot. Now it's EYBL. You're on a circuit. That's your summer.
Right.
I do feel like the way the game's played, it's took away a lot of role players' creativities. And it's almost made that stuff kind of, harder to do for guys that aren't the superstar, the go-to guy. Have you seen this shift happen in basketball throughout, because you guys came up, and I'm similar age, like you had to play. You had to go to the Y on a Saturday, Friday night. Street game was huge.
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you kind of figure shit out as a player.
Right.
Is that missing today? Because I see these kids, they're insanely skilled. Right.
Yeah.
It's the trainers, they got all that. Yeah. What's your outlook on the come up of today's kids,
Yeah, I think it's just, man, I think it's growing. So I'll say the game is just growing so fast.
It's ridiculous.
So it's like it's hard to keep the basketball purity or whatever, people that study and love the game, like it's hard to keep all of that. So now the kids have so much to pull from. Like they might only be watching like I got nephews and young kids that I am involved with. Like they might only watch high school players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Versus which us, like, we might have heard about a ABCD camp or whatever, but we couldn't
didn't know who that
pull
was.
up their Instagram and watch what they're doing. So now some of these young kids is learning from
Right.
kids that's only a few years
crazy.
older than them.
It's
So
crazy.
it's like the way the game is growing so fast, I think it changes the makeup of it, but it's still there, and it's guys that you could see it.
Jalen Green,
flow.
guys like that coming in. That
And I
have
think
that.
it's just you could see, you can't make them pay homage to the past, but I think the good ones and the great ones, eventually they'll figure it out and they become students of the game and they go back and they get all of the stuff that we got more of, you know what I mean? And the people before us had more than we did, you know what I'm saying? So
sure.
Our old heads look at us the same way we looking at these kids, and it's gonna keep going like that. That's just how it goes.
It's crazy that you're an old head at 20,
at
28, 29,
you know what I mean?
right?
But I'm in the gym with guys who just like
The kids,
the cultural difference, you know what I'm saying? Like the movies, the music, like just everything. So
it's different.
I still feel young, but some days them guys they make me feel old.
You're champ. You've been an all-star. You know, like if someone were to tell you 6 years ago, and I know you have the utmost belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Where you're at now, what's next? You know, you've been a champ. You know how to win. You know how to go deep. You guys got a good squad. Scotty Barnes is here.
Yeah.
Pascal is improving every year.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse, I love his system. He does a good job of the details that some other coaches may not hit on. And though it's hard-nosed at times, it gets it done. You looking in this Raptor situation right now, where do you see y'all, you know, because Kawhi Leonard, and we all know what it is, DeMar DeRozan was that too.
Right.
You could have very well gone with DeMar. People don't understand it's situations, it's timing, it's moments, very little moments. You've played with those. I want to call those guys all world, right? Kawhi all world as well. You guys, I don't know, is Scotty going to become that all world? Is Pascal going to become that all world? Because you need those guys to repeatedly go deep. They make your life easier. Then you guys come in and do the job around them, like level up. Where do you see this squad? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, I feel like we kind of right where we was pre-championship. You know, that's how it feels.
It's a good spot to be, though.
It's a great spot to be. And I think more than anything, like, it's different now than it was then, because at that point, my first 2 years, it was like, all right, you knew you had Bron and them to go through over here, and then
Prime Bron.
Right, the Warriors and them over there. So it's like, all right, the whole league was shifted around those two teams.
Now it's opened up.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's more spread out. So it's like, who would have thought that Brooklyn would have got swept in the first round? You know what I'm saying? Not many people saw that coming. Granted, they didn't have Ben Simmons, whatever, the whole situation.
We thought that was impossible.
Right. Nobody really was expecting that. So it's like, now it's more like the vibe in the league is like anything can happen.
Right.
So it's like, all right, let's just keep building what we got. We're going to stay back. We don't have, I mean, other than Scotty, who is growing into, you know, more popular, obviously one Rookie of the Year, he's going to be a star for sure. But like, nobody's really paying us attention. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a great place to be, because we've been there already. And it's like, all right, just keep working. We build it up. Let that other stuff, you know what I'm saying, work itself out. And then in the playoffs, anything can happen. Like, I know for a fact Pascal can average 30 in the playoff series.
Yeah.
I know for a fact what I can do. I know what Gary Trent can do. I know what Scotty can do. I know what OG can do.
This shit is up for grabs now.
Yo, any one of us make it happen, or the right matchup or whatever, like, it can go like that. You just gotta make it to that point, keep everything intact.
Because the tides are gonna turn. Shit's gonna happen.
Be healthy, and then when that moment and that window happens for you, you just, you know, you got to make it through. And then this year we got a little bit more on the bench, so you still could go to the bench. You still got an Otto Porter sitting over there, you know, that like we got some guys that could contribute.
Yeah.
And when it counts.
Right. One thing you said is, you know, the Eastern Conference now is changing. League's opening up. I feel like everyone has a shot. It's about how you execute, your depth, your role players, your health, right? Seeing this loaded East, right? Who are some teams that you think that, you know, at the top of the conference that you guys are going to really have to bring your best out at?
Yeah, I think for me, I always just go with like experience and pedigree. You know what I'm saying? As this is my 7th year now, I think, because I don't I learned my lesson early. Like, I don't really watch the news or like the talk shows or follow as much like mainstream media when it comes to the game.
Right.
So I don't really be as hyped about everything as everybody
Mhm.
else. But I think for me, I'm just gonna go back with the top. Like, Boston went to the finals last year. Like, I don't see any reason why, you know what I'm saying, they won't be good again. You still got Milwaukee. You still got to deal with Giannis. You still got to deal with uh, uh, Brooklyn again.
Right.
You still got to deal with Miami.
Yeah.
Like, that's, right there. And then obviously we played Philly in the playoffs last year. They made some additions, so I think that's a solid top, of the East right there. And
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays out. Things, people got to stay healthy. Chemistry, like, it's so many things that could go right or wrong. So we'll see. I hope they all suck, but you know what I'm saying. That's what we up against.
Yo,
We got our work cut out.
you know, I want to talk before I get into other guys because you've seen a lot in this league now. Scotty Barnes,
Mm-hmm.
what you see in this kid? How special you think he could be? You think he could be one of them ones?
Yeah, for sure. I think he is. I think it's just like we get to watch and see things every day now. So
You
it's
see
like,
the real shit
yeah.
every
So
day.
I'm seeing them. So it's like it's not blowing my mind like everybody else because I'm watching them. I'm like, I know what this is gonna be when it's time. You know what I
Right.
mean? I just will see. I love the main thing I love about him is just his character and who he is as
He's a
a
good dude.
person. Like, I think more than anything, that's gonna make him successful. Like, you can be, impressed with his size, athleticism, passing, whatever, however you want to slice it. But his makeup in his heart and in his mind he's gonna be successful no matter what. Now, how high that bar is, I don't know. I'm a person who everybody told me my whole life you can't do it. So I never put my own expectations on other people.
Right.
So however great he want to be, I believe he can do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's just how I approach it.
Right. You play against some very elite guys, some of the best guards the game has ever seen. Dame, Steph, Kyrie. I'm not going to ask you who's the main or the top guy because I know for you it's like, on any given night it could be anyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? But who are some of these guys throughout your young career? I mean, want to say mid career now,
Yeah.
right? That you've seen where it's like, this is different,
Yeah, I think again, like, I respect more than anything consistency and longevity. So you look at a guy like Dame, who's been doing what he's been doing for what,
Damn near decade.
10 years strong plus. Then you still got Steph, you still got Kyrie. Like, these guys, they're so good that they make it look easy. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And then
not
you
easy.
forget, like, I've been averaging 25 for 10 years. I've been averaging 28 and 8. I've been doing this facing double teams, triple teams. I've been staying healthy. I play
Right.
60, 70 games, different teams. Like,
It's insane.
you got to really just give credit where it's due. And I just think if you don't respect your opponent, is no way you could give them your best shot. You know what I mean? And that's just how I approach it. So I really respect all of the guys who I feel like have done more than me, have more talent or whatever. I don't never go into the game thinking nobody's better than me. That's just not how I'm made up. But I understand. To me, I have like a list of guys who I'm like looking up at. You know what I'm saying? Now, my list is probably way smaller than people would think.
Tell me the list.
Right? I ain't gonna tell you the list, but it's short.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good,
like,
though.
It's short of the guys that I look at. And then it's like guys who I feel like is in my same ballpark. But once you competition, then, you fool. But
Right.
I look at the guys who have been doing it for a long time at a high level, winning
Right.
good numbers. Like, people like to play with them.
Right.
It's you got to give credit where it's due. And that position,
It took over the league.
It's like
that's the game now. It's the toughest position.
It's incredible.
And you cracked out and became an all-star. How'd that feel?
Oh man, it was just amazing. It was just like one of those things that felt too good to be true. Like, I knew that I had put together a season at that point, 22, 7-5, whatever, winning. Like, I knew that I was worthy of it. Especially due to injuries and certain guys being out. I felt like I definitely had a chance, but I just couldn't believe it until I got to Cleveland and had my jersey in my locker, and I got to, do the whole experience. But I don't really surprise myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking about what's next, and so now it's like, all right, I gotta go do it.
I want to ask you, man. Like, I don't really get into the GOAT debate. It's kind of corny to me the way the media just used it to milk shit.
Right.
I really dissect the game when I on my platform. That's what I try to bring is just really that nuance, because every guy, you're different. You're so much different from a Dame or a Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, everyone's so much different. When you look at the history of the game and you being a student of the game, you know, for me, it's like it's Kobe, there's Mike, right? And obviously there's LeBron. Like, no disrespect to nobody. Like, you got all these upper echelon guys.
Right.
You know, who is that one guy to you that you feel like was the most outstanding talent you saw? And it's not even just resume.
Yeah.
Because these guys are all accomplished, right? Like,
yeah. I think, man, it's such a deep question, right? Because, like, I really try to break it down to a science. And, like, for me, I didn't get to see Mike live, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm just studying tapes. You don't get the feel of how, you know, you can listen to other people talk about it.
You don't see the Tuesday night coming off a screen.
Yeah, you don't get like, you just don't get that. Now, I grew up in Illinois, and I know, like, what he mean, you know what I'm saying, to that place. But Kobe is the guy for me. Like, he's the guy for me. That was my first impression of basketball. I watched him from probably, you know, I'm 28, so maybe 2001 to the day he retired.
Yeah.
I missed him by a year.
Yeah.
And he's just the guy for me. Like, the skill set, the drive, the mentality, the will, the athleticism, the shooting, like, he's just surgical.
Just the moment.
Yeah. And I think I try to explain to people, my view is like, I look at Mike more as like, there's people who there's guys who have you take a guy like Kyrie, right? And I think without a doubt, he's probably one of the most talented guys to ever play the game. Yeah. To ever touch a basketball.
For sure. Probably, like, the most skilled point guard ever
in the history of the game. But then you take a guy like Steph, and, like, how do you compare those two? You can't, right? Can't. But you can look at that and say, well, this guy plays the game better. Yeah. Or this guy does this better. You know, so that's kind of my thing when I look back at Mike, is like, I don't know if there's been anybody that played and, like, dominated the game.
Perfected the excellence part of the game. Yeah.
He was just so good at doing what he was doing, winning at a high clip, and doing it so good that people was, like, literally scared of him. You know what I'm saying?
And inspired a generation.
And he was first. And I also give credit to people who did it before anybody.
Where did he get that from?
Where did he get that from? Like, how do you come up with that? Like, we all have above, you know, things that we look to, and, like, you know, you might take a crossover or a move and you practice it, but it's like, yo,
the shit Mike was doing.
And then you go back further than that to the guys that was before that, the Magics, the Kareems, the Elgins, the Jerry West, like, the guys who really didn't have nothing to go off of.
The real pioneers.
They really made the game what it is. You know what I'm saying? So the guys today, you fast forward to a guy like LeBron, who there may never be another 20-year stretch.
There probably won't.
There probably won't be, right? You know, obviously 100 years from now, 200 years
in
from
our
now,
lifetime, there might not be.
There won't be. Sure. So a 20-year stretch at that level, like, what do you do with that?
See, I feel like everyone has their own story and resume and recipe.
Right.
That's why I always just, for me, it's like I bring it down to the 94 feet.
Yeah.
You know, because that kind of simplifies it.
Yeah. Because I think, simplify it.
I think the 94 feet is the more pure form of it. Mm-hmm. And that's where Kobe's the guy for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he was the guy that was able to take what Mike did. Mm-hmm. And sure, you may not see it on a statistical level, but he was able to execute things against defensive pressure from pros like yourself, you know, guys that came before you, I feel like at the highest level. Yeah. And I think he reached like the 12th degree black belt in terms of every aspect and attribute of his game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he was, I mean, listen, he was just different, like, mentally, you know what I mean? And then and that's another thing I give credit to a guy like Brian too, is like, the guy who we all know people who were just born with God-given abilities and talents and gifts, but they just didn't see through to their full potential. Like,
he didn't miss a step.
Everything right the whole time.
It's
like,
so easy to fuck up.
You gotta pay homage to that. You know what I'm saying?
Just to know that and just be 99 out of 99
Right.
every day, right?
And then the biggest thing on that people hate on him for is like he might not take the game-winning shot. He might pass it to an open guy. Like I don't know.
How are those series against Bron? Because you guys saw peak Bron.
Yeah. It was definitely frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Because we felt like we had a better team. We felt like we definitely should have won the series, but then it just boiled down to like him just making something happen out of nothing.
That's what the greats do.
Right. I think it was just more like a mental hurdle that as young guys, we didn't understand. And I think the older guys on the team had a better understanding, and maybe they didn't see. Maybe they knew that we weren't ready and we thought we were ready. So we were like more confident and more angry about it. But it was just a mental thing at that point. And
looking back on it, like as your psyche grows and shit, like you're like, yo, it was a play here, play there, right?
Well, I to go on record and say that my second year, we got hurt. I got hurt the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And I had so many shots in game 1 and in game 2, even in game 3. I had so many plays and shots that if I would have made those plays, we would have won. I had a shot at the end of the game 1 to win the game.
Little moments that people don't even remember probably.
I had a shot at the buzzer. We had 2 tip-ins. All of them missed. So we win game 1 at home. That's a different series right there. Series. Now he come game 2, Brian doing some crazy shit. It's all the fadeaways. You know, the game when he shot all the fadeaways. So now it's like, all right, damn. Game 3, he throwing in off the glass.
Right. Game winner at the buzzer.
Yeah. So it's like, damn, just like that. And that all happened in like probably 6 days.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I'm saying?
It happened so fast.
So, but nobody remembers that.
No.
But I do. But
there's a million things like that happen.
So now fast forward to the next year when we won the championship, I got all of that experience to go off of and say, if I do make these shots, we might fuck around and win a championship.
And it happened.
Shit,
man. That's crazy. Kawhi Leonard comes in that moment. You know, it was a little bit awkward because he kicked.
Mm-hmm.
But what you saw him do on a night-to-night basis, how special was that? Because he went to that Kobe Mike Brown place for moments.
I got to give him credit, man. I got to give him credit. Like, he definitely deserves to be in those convos. And, like, this is my new thing that too. Like, imagine, because we always try to, like, start at the negative point when we try to talk about somebody. But imagine if that was your brother or your friend, or like, wouldn't you think he was the greatest player to ever play?
Right.
If you was like family of Kawhi, wouldn't you think he deserved to be in those combos?
You'd be rooting for him right there.
Go off of what you watching.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you watched him, he did it in San Antonio. He did it with us. He's done it with the Clippers. Like, when he's in that mode,
it's different.
It's different. Now, you could talk about doing it all year or injuries or whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. But just like his level, is not too many people
many wings that reach that level
that can do that. And he's doing it on both sides of the floor, and he makes all the right plays. And there's no ego. He's locked in the huddles and the timeouts. He's paying attention. He talks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He definitely deserves to be in those combos.
It's at both ends.
Mm-hmm.
That's something and in today's league, this is really special to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm an offensive guy for sure. You probably see that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, you like the buckets.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, to me, this shit, you know, ultimately will be about a bucket.
Yeah.
And you kind of proved that to me.
Right. No, it is. It definitely is.
You know, but your ability to defend.
Right.
And last year, your knee was hurt.
Right.
So you were moving a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But, man, your ability to lock a guy up.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? You know, because that's something you do at a high level. I don't know what the stats say. They say something good, though. I saw something that said something good.
Yeah.
Seeing these guards, man, night to night, the way you defended Steph in the finals, the way you lock up in terms of just off the ball, making guys' life hard. That's all you can do. Talk to me about that.
Again, I had to go back pretty far, but, like, growing up, I don't know how everybody else, you know, grew up playing basketball, but where I grew up at, once you score, you pick up right there. And you don't run back on defense. The defense start right under.
That's,
you know what I'm
Illinois
saying?
Thing,
right? That's Illinois, Chicago.
Pat Bev right there too.
That's
same thing.
The whole court. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't dribble, you're not gonna get past this free throw line right here. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it was.
And that's how it was. I had great coaches who taught me how to play man to man and all that. Great college coach. Greg Marshall is a great coach. So I learned that, right? And I just take it personal. Like some guys, you just have to take it personal. And
How
that's
much of
really
it is
all it
how
is.
much of it is a mentality and an effort?
That's all it is. I don't got no crazy body or athleticism. I got great hands. I can slide my feet and I'm pretty strong. I mean, but like I don't have like no wild athletic ability, but I understand angles. I understand like body position, and you know what I'm saying? It's kind of just like shadow boxing, hand wrestling. That's how I always sum it up. But again, I take it personal. I study, and I can watch somebody walk and tell how they're gonna move on the court. I can watch somebody shoot for 5 minutes and know how to guard them. Like it's just from being a student of the game.
Who's the toughest guy you've had to guard up until now? You would say if you could point out one. Obviously, it's gonna be a guard.
Man, toughest guy. I would probably say one-on-one on the island, Kyrie.
Yeah, it doesn't fuck.
Yeah, one-on-one on the island, Kyrie. Because it's like you can't. Really, all I try to do on defense is make you do something that you don't want to do. Like I'm not a guy that's gonna stop you from getting to the rim. You gotta make it hard for them. I play with the scheme. I play with the rest of the 4 guys behind me. I play to the official. I play like in-game defense. You know what I'm saying? One-on-one on a park, like I ain't crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? But I am, but I'm not. But I think it's hard to get him to do stuff that he don't want to do.
The movement is insane.
Yeah, like he just gotta.
It's not even the skill; it's the movement.
Yeah, it's just like he just got his own rhythm that it's hard to get him out of. Steph is definitely up there too. It's just a different
bag.
It's more like you gotta put your eyes in his jersey and just don't move. Like
it's almost like you can't do much. He dictates you, right?
Right, and that's really all it boils. So the guys that you can't bother, those are the ones that I put, you know what I'm saying, on a super high pedestal. But you still got, I mean, you could in the NBA, you could guard somebody as hard as you want to, and then you go to the locker room and they have 40, and their coach is like, "Man, good job, you did good." You know what I'm saying? And you like, damn.
I know. I was talking to some OG defenders from that half court era of basketball. They were like, "Yo, like we thought we did good, but Kobe had 47, right?"
Yeah, make it tough on them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How insane are these guys though? Like, is it their preparation? Because you guys honestly nowadays are all putting in work. Mm-hmm. I see you grind. I see the work you put in day to day, you know, on your Instagram, whatever you show us. But, you know, with a gifted place, when you go to that gifted place of a Kyrie, of a KD, of a Steph, seeing that night to night, because this goes down as you're going to tell your grandkids, like, I played basketball and I was an all-star in an era where we had the most, you know, out-of-the-world talents. Yeah. How crazy is that, seeing that? I think you're in the most talented era in league history.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll grow, and hopefully the game only gets better. You know, that as somebody who loves basketball, like, you would hope that it only gets better. But I think this is the era where you taking the God-given talent and the unreal ability, and then you giving them all the answers on what to do with it, because we got to see the guys before us do good and do bad. So you got to learn. And that's why I'm big on just paying respect to the ones that came before us, because if it wasn't for them, then it would be hard to learn what to do. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, they laid the blueprint out.
Yeah, so whether it's a mistake or something good, like you take a guy like Steph Curry, who I think anybody could agree that he just has a unreal, whether it's hand-eye coordination or whatever, it's something special there.
There's a gift there.
Right, but then, okay, he got a crazy work ethic too. Guess Obsessed. What? Yeah, he also a killer too. Like, so you put all of those things together, and then you end up with one of the best greatest players to ever play the game. And I think we just have a lot of them in this era.
One more guy I want to ask you about, DeMar DeRozan, because people, I don't feel like they give him his credit.
Right.
So I did my own 75, and my 75 was just straight eye test, talent, advancements.
Right.
Different combo. I think guys like you can have that combo.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with certain names or not.
Right.
I feel like DeMar is up there all time. You know, when you look at it as a wing, as a guard.
Yeah.
How was that seeing him day to day? Because you saw him more than Kawhi.
Right.
You saw him more than, you know, all these guys.
Yeah.
You saw him at his best.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yo, right there.
Right.
Like, he's one of them. You know what I'm saying? And the bad part about it is that's where the narratives and things cloud like what we actually watching.
That's where the casuals, they blind us.
So it's like, now I just seen something the other day that had damn, what I see? I seen something. I ain't gonna go into it. But anyway,
Yeah.
DeMar is without a doubt one of the best players in the NBA. Like, just watch what he do. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I would never defend him for is his defense, because I play defense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So a result of that,
Yeah.
people take that too far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the fact that he not like in a stance, like slapping the ground,
Right.
playing defense, so
Right.
people use that, but
Against
we
him.
don't hold the way he's graded. We don't grade everybody like that. And I
Right.
think that's a testament to his greatness. Like,
Right.
anytime you're over criticized, it's probably because you are that great.
Facts.
And I watched him. There's not many people that can guard him. I've never seen nobody bother him.
Yeah.
The only person that can guard him is himself. He works his ass off. He's a great teammate. And my first 2 years, I was watching him figure out playmaking. And now he's one of the best in the league at it. You know what I'm saying?
He
And
improved
passing,
on that so much.
finishing, shooting. Like, he just he if you took him, there's guys that if you just took him and put him in a time machine, like, he could play
In any era.
Yeah, like
80s, 90s, yeah.
Yeah, he one of those.
You know, with you being this guy, you know, like nowadays the NBA is all switch. It's all pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you give smaller guards? Because I feel like it's gotten harder for smaller guards.
Yeah,
There's a lot of guards that can get buckets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guards that can cook. I'll talk about them all fucking day. But I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's tough to stay on the floor.
Yeah.
All this switching, you end up with a 6'7" fucking wing on you.
Yeah.
You know, with the first step, with, you know.
Right.
Is it mental or is it conditioning? Because you've done an incredible job on your body. I see you working right now. Give somebody some of these young guys tips, because I try to, behind the scenes, what I actually say is defend.
Yeah.
Stay on the floor.
Right.
I say the right basketball shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, from a highlight standpoint, you know, it's the offense we're going to talk about.
Well, I think you can appreciate it all, though. But I think as, like, I've grown more and got older, and like people actually come to me for advice now, especially guys that's coming up, I tell them all the same thing, bro. If you are 6 feet, 6'1" and under, unless you are Trae Young, you need to be picking up full court,
being a pest.
You got to be a problem on defense, causing problems, whether you know how to guard or not. Just fight,
right? And
then you got to be able to shoot the three. Like, everything else in between is in between, whether you got a floater, whether you finish, whatever. But if you can't catch and shoot at a high clip
in today's game,
as an undersized guard, like, it's going to be hard for you to make a long career in the NBA. Now, there's a lot of talented guys that's undersized that hasn't been I mean, we talk about, I see you talk about IT all the time. Like, dude averaged 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, but it's like, as soon as the league don't feel like letting you be the lead guy,
it's tough.
Then it's like, now you fighting an uphill battle. You know what I'm saying?
Fight a whole different game.
So I always tell guys just to be like, create a package around you that you can play anywhere on any team in any setting
for a long time.
Right? Whether that's starting, whether that's being the best player, whether that's being a role player. You know what I'm saying? And
it's crazy. You've reached that veteran stage in your career, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know, the league is getting young now.
Yeah, it's really young.
Do you see, like, isn't it weird?
Yeah, it is.
Right? It's like, you got the vets, you got the guys that have been there for so long, and you got these new kids coming in, man. How's that dynamic?
It is, but I think too, like, if you study the game, we also in a transition too, right? So it's like we in a transition of the era, and people not really paying attention to it.
It's happening
before
our eyes.
Saying? Like, God bless LeBron, but man, I don't know. I ain't gonna disrespect him, but I don't know if he could do another 20 years. Maybe he can. Maybe he's the superhuman. But I'm just saying, like, at some point he gonna hang it up. Like,
the Anthony Edwards are coming.
Yeah, they on the way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you pay attention to that, then it's easier to accept the new wave that's coming in, because that's gonna be the new norm. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. We watched Tatum go to his first finals. You know, he's a young guy. Luka's young. Ja Morant.
They're here.
Like, they're doing it, but we still are waiting on one of those to
get it done,
to be in that next category. And I think Giannis was the first one.
Yeah,
because we still always is gonna use the championship as like the next way to get to the next tier is by winning a chip. So he was the first one.
That crown. Is he the best player in the game to you right now? To me, is KD still.
You like KD?
I like
Yeah. Best player, man. Damn. Best player in the game. I would probably still go LeBron, bro.
Yeah.
I'll probably still go LeBron.
Yeah.
And then I would go like LeBron, Kawhi, Steph, Giannis, like somewhere in that ranking. You know what I'm saying? And then outside of guys that haven't won a championship yet, then you got like a Luka.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying with LeBron. The body of work is too much to just
like
the mind.
And again, like I don't want to change how I view him based on the success of the team because we watched him.
Oh yeah, they just won a chip 2 years ago.
Yeah, we watched him raise the level for so many years.
Yeah.
And he just won a chip. So
it's crazy, like, this news cycle, right?
Yeah.
The algorithm, the shit, the way the moves, these narratives kind of flooded the game. I try to stay away from them.
And I watched people do Kobe like that. As a Kobe fan, like he was on an island sometimes, you know what I'm saying? When it came as the game changed. So I'm not really a LeBron fan like that because I was a Kobe guy.
Yeah, that's how we are, yeah.
But I don't want to like not appreciate what he's doing either because I know at some point, you know what I'm saying, we won't see him lace it up no more.
Because he's got, and that happens to me too. Like to me, it's Kobe, and then it's like Mike, and then it's like whoever else, right?
Yeah.
But like we all love LeBron,
because
we saw LeBron pave his own way, have his own journey,
right?
And he's a dog, you know, and you know, you could go to sleep every night saying I'm the best ever, and what can we really say?
Yeah,
I agree with you, you know, like.
And then you still got KD. Like KD. What do you do with KD? You know what I'm saying?
Might be the most talented performer in the history of the sport.
He probably is the best player in the NBA, but. He's gonna have that rap sheet on him,
right? Because
of like outside narrative,
the climate we're in.
Yeah, so
the
it's
bullshit,
like,
you know,
the new age of like social commentary. I think has changed how you view things. But again, they just lost in the first round, so it's hard to be like, all right, he's the best.
Isn't
player,
it crazy though? Like you've seen it. Like we saw Dirk lose in the first round.
Yeah,
basketball was more mature. The combo around the game was more mature. It was like, oh shit, bad year.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even call him a choker.
No.
It was like, okay, they choked.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
Right.
He'll be back next year.
Yeah, it happens.
And it happens. Like that was normal. I feel like we're kind of basketball discourse is broken.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the bots. I don't pay attention to Twitter. It's not real to me. But, you know, it's what do you feel, man? Like there's too much. There's too many narratives. There's too many conclusions. There's too much of this shit that's going on.
I think for me, just because when I used to watch it was like high school, college, so it was like 2012 to like 2016. Just to say 2008 to 2016, it turned into Mike versus Bron. And the only way to have that argument was to go championships, performances, game winners. So now that's the criteria. So everybody under that,
when it's much deeper though,
falls into the same criteria. When it's like that's not really
that's not how it works.
And we've never seen nobody do what Mike did, which was dominate, you know what I'm saying, 6 championships. Like
pure excellence.
We never seen that. So I don't think you should even compare nobody to him.
He's untouchable because no one's gonna have that run in 12 years.
Yeah, I don't think you should compare that to anything. So I think you should just appreciate everything. And then if you want to, you know what I'm saying, shoot the shit and then you talk like who's your favorite or whoever, oh, that's different. But like it's such a big business now that anything that drives conversation is like promoted, and it's not all like great basketball convo because some of it's just like silly shit.
It's just garbage.
Yeah.
You said business. One thing I admire about you, man, and I really, you know, I fuck with like a lot of dudes on a professional level as far as what they do on the basketball court. You kind of paved your own way, and I see you now from a business standpoint, you know, taking full advantage of the Canadian side because you know how big of a star you are here.
Right.
When you got a country behind you, it's just different.
Yeah,
you know, and you got your own podcast. Talk to me about that. You got your own, you know, your own line, the Fred VanVleet shop. You know, I see what you're doing, man, and it's really dope. You feel it's like you're like an independent artist in the league, you know?
No, that's exactly how I play it. Like, just as much as I love basketball, I love music, and I just study both businesses, and especially like entertainment. So sports and entertainment is like, all right, like I might not have 10 million followers, but I know I have a core fan base. And so what do I do with that?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning. Like, it hasn't always been, you know what I'm saying, all positive. Like, but what do I do with these people that fuck with me? Because I'm so much of like a real person, like in real life, that I don't even see the person that people see.
Right.
So I don't see Fred VanVleet is this all-star big, you know what I'm saying, deal. I don't see that. So I try to just build a community, number one, because obviously you can make money, but number two, because these people that actually get something out of watching me play the same way I watched hundreds of guys in the NBA play. So,
Yeah.
you know, I just try to always keep that in mind. And I just got a lot of interest, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love basketball. It's my first love.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything that gives me the fire inside like basketball does yet.
Yeah.
But there's definitely other things that I'm interested in. So now that I've built myself up to have a platform, then I'm just, you know, I just try stuff.
That's dope. You are you a Canadian now?
Yeah, I'm definitely a Canadian, honorary Canadian, and
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna work on getting my passport.
Yeah.
Try to get some citizenship or something for sure. The way
How your kids like it?
Oh, my kids love it. My daughter's Canadian. She was born
That's dope.
in Toronto. So
Toronto's dope, right?
Yeah, Toronto's been great, man. It's been good to me and my family. The country has embraced me. Man, I couldn't ask for a
you're
better
gonna go down
reception.
as a legend here, no matter what happens the rest of the way.
No doubt. And I watched Kyle do it. So, you know,
Right.
I got the blueprint, and just, you know, I just got to stick around long enough to, you know what I'm saying, say I was, you know, the longest tenured guy, and, you know, see what type of more stuff I can rack up, bring them another championship, and, you know.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, bro. This is dope. Thank you. You know, it's dope just bringing these live content back, but we're gonna be rooting for you, seeing what you do. Get to watch you every day, basically. You know, we don't miss a game.
Yeah.
But I think you guys got something special in the works.
Yeah.
And I think you're at the helm of that, man. So
yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you, and you showed me a lot of love, and I definitely appreciate that, because like somebody like me, that's like I'm not a hater, but I grew up like in that, you know what I'm saying? Because I always had to look at the guys who was getting all of the fame and accolades, and was like, oh, y'all think he nice? Y'all, you know what I'm saying? So when you started posting and showing love, I appreciated that, bro. That was dope. So I fuck with you for that.
Always, bro. Thank you.
Love.